I saw you lay your head on the pillow last night, and the silence of the room seemed to scream louder than any words you tried to utter. I was there, feeling the weight of your sigh, watching the trembling in your hands as they searched, unsuccessfully, for the thread of that conversation we used to have. You feel that something has changed, that your heart is beginning to drift away from me, like a dry leaf carried by a cold autumn wind. But I stopped what I was doing on the throne of my glory, just to tell you this now. I heard your silent cry for help. You clicked on this video because your soul recognized the touch of my spirit calling you back, confirming that this is the exact place where the restoration of your private prayer will begin. You wouldn't understand if I told you yesterday, but today your desert ends because I have decided to blow again on the ashes of your altar. I know you wonder why my voice seems to have become a distant whisper, while the noise of your worries sounds like thunder. Why does that flame that burned in your heart now seem like just a memory of a time that will never return? If you stay with me until the very last second of this message, I will show you the way back to the secret place, that garden where we walked together in the breeze of the day. I will reveal to you the 4 fundamental steps so that your spirit may regain the authority and the fire that the world tried to extinguish. As I did with my servant Elijah on the mountain, I will not come in an earthquake, but in a gentle sound that will rebuild your strength today. Before we move forward on this journey of healing, I want to feel you even closer. If this word of mine is already reaching the depths of your soul, speak to me down here. Tell me your name, what country and city you are listening to me from, and what time your eyes met mine at this moment. I want you to feel that you are not just a number, but my beloved daughter. And now, like a cry that springs from one who can no longer bear the distance, write with all your faith, Lord my God, I am here. I signed up because I love you and want to hear you. Don't leave my presence now. I promise you that if you stay until the end, I will give you a clear answer that will dispel all your confusion. At the end, I will whisper a specific phrase to your heart, a prophetic key that if you write it down with confidence, will release blessings that are being withheld. I see your struggle to keep your eyes open and your soul attentive, but what I will show you next is the invisible danger that has been trying to steal your peace the moment you close your bedroom door to speak with me. Tell me, in the silence of your kitchen or in the solitude of your sofa, what else has been stealing your time with me? Right here, I return to you. I return. But what I saw trying to take root in your heart while you were drifting away is something you need to know now. My daughter, drifting away rarely happens with a big bang or a conscious decision to leave me. It begins like an invisible crack in the wall of an old house, a silent wear and tear that you only notice when the cold wind starts blowing inside. I have watched with sadness how the sparkle in your eyes has diminished when you look up. Do you remember when your first thought upon waking, with the morning light still touching your face, was a sincerely whispered thank you? Now, your first, almost automatic, gesture is to grope the nightstand for that bright cell phone screen that pours out upon you the anxieties and noises of a world that doesn't know your worth. I see the subtle danger that has settled into your routine, like a fog covering the road. The prayer that was once your feast, your moment to breathe a sigh of relief, has become a quick obligation, a hurried amen before heavy sleep overcomes you. Your heart hasn't strayed onto paths of wickedness, but it's growing cold, like a room where the fireplace went out long ago and the ashes no longer warm anyone. I saw you in the kitchen this morning, your hands immersed in warm water, washing the dishes while your mind wandered to the bills due tomorrow, to the ingratitude of that person you helped so much, or to that strange emptiness that seems to weigh 10 kilos in your chest. That is the danger, little one. The silence that was once filled by my presence is now filled by the echo of your own worries and pains. For it is written in the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 4, "But I have this against you, that you have abandoned the love you had at first." I don't tell you this to condemn you or make you feel guilty, but to warn you like a father who sees his son approaching a precipice while walking distractedly. Spiritual coldness is treacherous because it doesn't hurt immediately. It only numbs your spiritual senses. You begin to think it's normal to go 1, 2, or 3 days without truly seeking me with thirst. You convince yourself that physical exhaustion justifies spiritual distance. But while you distance yourself, the enemy of your soul takes advantage to plant seeds of doubt, making you believe that I have also distanced myself from you, when in truth it is I who sustains every beat of your weary heart. I saw the exact moment when you felt that chill in your soul, a sensation that the sky had turned to bronze and that your words don't reach beyond the ceiling of your room. This is a lie that distance feeds. I am here, leaning against the door of your heart, waiting for you to realize that this weariness that consumes you is not physical. It is the thirst of a soul that has stopped drinking from the only source that quenches thirst. The world wants to convince you that you are just a cog in a machine that needs to produce. But to me, you are my sacred dwelling place. If your heart continues to drift away from me, you will lose the compass that guides you through the storms already on the horizon of your life. I don't want you to get lost in the labyrinth of your own strength, trying to carry the world on your shoulders. There is a profound restoration that I want to work on right now, something that goes far beyond a simple religious habit. It is a rescue of your essence and your peace. Before I show you the next step in this restoration I have prepared for you, tell me one thing with all the honesty of your soul. In the depths of your silence, what is your heart trying to say to God today that you haven't yet had the courage to put into words? If you feel that the flame needs to burn again, write this word of surrender in the comments, Regnite. But listen carefully, because what I'm about to ask of you may seem like a sacrifice in the eyes of the world, but it is, in fact, the only key to your true liberation. My daughter, as I restore your heart, I also look upon the hands that desire to serve my kingdom in a concrete and faithful way. This channel through which my voice reaches you every day is like a sacred field that needs to be watered so that other hearts may also be rescued from coldness and abandonment. If it is possible for you, only if it is possible, transform your gratitude into a seed of love for this channel. Consider my love and that of my son Jesus, and contribute using the link in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. There you will find the sacred place where your offering of love can be deposited and consecrated before the Creator of all things. You can contribute any amount you wish. If you want a different amount, just type in the desired amount. And remember, only what fits in your heart. I receive everything with infinite love. The material value doesn't matter. What matters is the heart with which you give. For what is little for you may be much for someone who receives this word in a moment of despair. Whoever contributes any amount with a sincere heart, please remember to include your name and city with your contribution. On the first day of the following month, in a unique and special video on our channel and page Divine Love, the Voice of God, your name will be remembered, mentioned in gratitude, and covered with divine blessings released in prayer. For it is written in my holy word, in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 7, each one should give what he has decided in his heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. Understand, my beloved, that every offering made in faith is a living seed before me, your Lord, and I will not fail to bear fruit in the due time of your harvest. I see into the secrets of your soul and your surrender, and I reward you in the sight of all your enemies and friends. Remain until the end of this message, because I still want to touch your heart with my voice and reveal to you the mystery of the fire that the ashes of your past tried to hide. But first, I need to show you what's hidden behind that door you closed to me long ago. Write in the comments now, I surrender to love. I saw you sitting on the edge of your bed last night, your face hidden between trembling hands, trying to wrest a single meaningful sentence from the depths of your chest. But all that came out was a heavy sigh, laden with a weariness that 10 hours of sleep wouldn't be able to cure. I was there, observing the silence of your house, feeling the weight of that heavy atmosphere in your empty kitchen, where the only sound was the ticking of the clock on the wall, marking the seconds of a life that seems to be slipping through your hands. The ashes of your altar are cold, my daughter. I remember when the fire burned so intensely that tears of gratitude wet your face even before you finished saying my name. But today what I see is a soul that feels like a dry desert, where the sands of routine have buried your joy of being with me. You try to pray. I know you try. You close your eyes and begin to repeat words that seem empty, as if you were talking to the ceiling or the cold walls of your room. This extreme tiredness you feel doesn't just come from the day's tasks, the exhausting work, or the worries about your children and your home. It's the weight of an armor you've been trying to carry alone, pretending to be strong for everyone, while your spirit cries out for a moment of real rest in my arms. You feel that the sky has turned to bronze, and that my presence is just a distant memory of a time when everything was simpler. For it is written in the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 29, "He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak." I want you to visualize this scene now. You are walking down a dark corridor, and suddenly you feel that your legs can no longer support you. You fall to your knees, not in worship, but from total exhaustion. It is at this very moment, when your vulnerability is absolute, and you no longer have masks to wear, that my strength becomes real. I don't expect you to come to me perfect or full of pretty words. I want your ashes. I want your weariness. I want your painful silence. The fire that once burned within you has not been extinguished forever. It is merely hidden beneath the layers of pain, disappointment, and weariness that life has deposited upon your heart. I am now blowing, with the sweetness of my spirit, upon these cold ashes to find the ember that still remains within. Your private prayer has not died. It simply needs to be rescued from the noise of the world that insists you have no time for me. I saw when you opened that cupboard in the kitchen and felt small, lost in thoughts about how things got to this point. I saw the trembling in your hands as you held that cup of coffee, trying to find the strength to face another day of invisible battles. If this truth is echoing in the walls of your soul, and you feel that your altar needs to be rebuilt today, let your heart speak to me simply. What are you surrendering to my care at this very moment, as you hear my voice calling you by name? Write in the comments the word that defines your desire to return. Renew me. Calm your spirit, and do not rush to leave my presence, for there is still something I have silently prepared, a remedy for your soul that will sustain you in the dawns to come, and I am about to deliver it to you. On this journey to restore your altar, I perceive that sometimes you feel as if you are trying to cross a vast ocean in a small boat without oars. I see the heavy weariness in your eyes when the cold dawn arrives, and the silence of the house seems to tighten your chest, making you feel small and directionless amidst the shadows. So that you do not have to walk alone in these hours of intense searching, I have prepared something special to be your daily guide, a map so that your feet may find their way back to my embrace with each new dawn. My dear, if your soul yearns to go further and dive into much deeper waters with me, know that I have left you a gift in the form of a journey, which I wrote with all my love and affection for all my daughters and sons, whom I love so much. It is the digital book called Divine Love Devotional, The Voice of God. It was prepared to accompany you day after day, being your refuge in silence and intimacy when the world outside is too noisy. Access to this journey of faith is available to you at the link in this video's description and in the pinned comment, where I await you to speak privately. And if today it is not possible for you to walk with this book, do not condemn yourself and do not let your heart be saddened. Remain with me here, because I will also sustain you with this powerful message until the very last second, so that your heart may rest and your mind may not be confused by unnecessary worries. Right after you register, full access will arrive directly at the email address you registered. There you will find all the correct instructions, explained step by step, to begin your journey with me without any difficulty. For it is written, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." Book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 13. This sincere search you are undertaking now is what moves my heart to pour upon you an oil of joy in place of your ashes of weariness. This devotional will be like a daily and gentle remedy for the wounds that the desert time opened in your soul. Now, take a deep breath. Feel my peace invading the place where you are at this moment and remain with me, because what I will reveal to you next is the secret to silencing the external voices that try to stifle my whisper within you. Tell me, deep in your soul, have you ever felt the need for an urgent sign to start over? Write this phrase of surrender in the comments. My soul is thirsty, but do not withdraw from my presence now, for there is still something I am preparing in silence that will only be revealed to those who do not give up listening to me. Listen with your heart, for the world outside is shouting, but I am whispering within you. I see how your mind has become a noisy battlefield, where notifications from your phone, bad news jumping onto the screen, and the demands of those around you create a cacophony that prevents you from resting. You wake up and before you even say my name, the noise of worries already fills all the space. It's as if you live inside an engine that never shuts off, and this has drained your perception of the sacred. I saw you yesterday, trying to close your eyes for a minute while waiting for that water to boil on the stove, and even in that small interval, the noise of your thoughts about the future was so loud that you didn't even notice that I was there, leaning against your kitchen counter, waiting for you to notice me. The whisper is my favorite language because it demands that you come very close to hear. The enemy of your soul uses noise to keep you at a distance, for he knows that in the sonic chaos, you lose clarity about who I am and who you are to me. I want to teach you now to silence what comes from outside. Feel the pressure on your shoulders lessen as I speak. Feel the tension in your neck, the result of carrying voices that were never mine, beginning to subside. The silence you so fear is not emptiness. It is the space where my voice takes shape and color. For it is written in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire, a still, small voice. Just as I did with Elijah, who was hidden in a cave of fear and exhaustion, I will not come in the roar of your anxiety. I come in the breeze that touches your face now, in the interval between one beat and another of your heart. To hear me, you need the courage to turn off the world, even if only for 5 minutes. You need to allow the silence of your living room or bedroom to become my sanctuary, and not the place where you relive your sorrows. I saw the moment when you felt a lump in your throat, because you could no longer discern whether what you felt was weariness or abandonment. At that instant, I was trying to tell you that what you heard as abandonment was only the echo of your own soul needing me. When you are silent before me, I begin to organize your confusion. I begin to separate what is true from what is false that has been cast upon you. In this restored silence, the pieces of the puzzle of your life begin to fit together effortlessly. Now that the noise is subsiding, I ask you, before you leave this atmosphere of peace that we are building, may I ask you something? In the depths of your silence, what is your soul trying to say to God today that you haven't yet had the courage to put into words? If this divine whisper has touched your soul now, leave your sign of surrender. Share this video with someone you know who is living in the midst of turmoil and needs peace. Write in the comments our word of faith, declaring the clarity that is returning. I hear you. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you is the exact place where your greatest weakness will transform into my greatest opportunity to honor you. I see when you look at yourself in the bathroom mirror with the door locked, and for a brief second, let your shoulders slump. Behind that woman everyone sees as a rock, as the family's safe haven, there is a tired daughter who just wants a hug. I saw the exact moment you quickly wiped away tears with the corner of a towel, because you heard footsteps in the hallway, putting on that mask again that everything is fine so as not to worry anyone. You fear that if you collapse, everything around you will collapse too. But here, in the silence we are reclaiming, you don't need armor. The altar of prayer that I am rebuilding in your room is not a place for religious performances or rehearsed words. It is the sacred ground of your naked, raw truth, where your heaviest sigh is heard as the most sincere melody. You've spent too much time trying to be strong on your own, carrying the weight of decisions, silences, and renunciations that no one else knows about. I saw the trembling in your hands as you gripped the steering wheel or closed the living room window at dusk, feeling a vulnerability that frightens you. You think your weakness pushes me away, but it's quite the opposite. When you admit you can't take another step, that's when my arm reaches out with even greater force. On the altar of intimacy, I don't seek your perfection. I seek your surrender. I prefer your honest tears on the kitchen floor to 1,000 empty prayers offered out of obligation. For it is written in my sacred word, in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, "And he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. Understand, my little one, that your moment of greatest fragility is my greatest opportunity to demonstrate who I am in your life. When your words fail, my spirit begins to intercede for you with groans that the world does not understand, but that heaven welcomes with joy. I saw you that rainy night, sitting on the sofa, feeling that your spiritual life was just a wisp of smoke, carried away by the wind. You felt small, unworthy of being heard, as if your weariness were a failing. But I tell you, your vulnerability is the door through which I enter to restore what has been broken. Let go of the fear of being seen as fragile. In my lap, your weakness is transformed into spiritual authority. It is in this stripping away that I give you new garments and a new song. Now that you know you can take off the mask before me, let me ask you something with all the love of a father. What is the weight you are trying to carry alone today that is preventing you from breathing peacefully? If this revelation has touched the most sensitive point in your heart now, leave your sign of surrender and subscribe to this channel if you feel you need this daily companionship with me. Write here in the comments, our declaration of trust, accepting my sustenance over your pains. Your grace is enough for me. But don't close your eyes to what comes next, because now that your heart is open, I will teach you to rebuild the defenses that have been torn down and to protect your soul from new attacks. My daughter, now that you have allowed me to touch your weakness and feel the pulse of your weariness, the moment has come for us to take up together the tools to rebuild the walls that negligence and pain have allowed to crumble. I saw you on the balcony of your house, looking at the deserted street at 2 in the morning, feeling unprotected, as if any wind could knock you down. Your heart has become a city without doors, where anxiety, doubt, and voices of condemnation come and go as they please. But I did not bring you here to see you in ruins. I am the architect who rebuilds upon what the world has considered rubbish. Rebuilding your private prayer is, above all, rebuilding your vigilance. I have observed how you allowed little foxes to enter your vineyard. You stopped filtering what you hear. You stopped guarding your eyes, and little by little the gaps became abysses. I saw when you felt the cold of dawn seep into your soul because the protection of my presence no longer surrounded you as before. But today, I give you a holy command. Rise up and rebuild, not with bricks of guilt, but with the mortar of perseverance. For it is written in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 2, verse 17. Then I said to them, "You see the trouble we are in. Jerusalem lies in ruins, and its gates have been burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace." Just as Nehemiah looked at the rubble and decided it was time to stop suffering the shame of defeat, I invite you to look at the rubble of your time with me. What the fire of trials has burned, I will restore with pure gold. Your spiritual strength will not be made of empty rituals, but of a daily decision to say no to the noise and yes to my silence. Begin by protecting the first hours of your day. I miss being your first thought, before the news of the world pollutes your spirit. I want to be your first conversation, before the complaints of routine embitter your lips. When you decide to pray, even unwillingly, you are laying the first stone in the wall. When you choose to read my word instead of getting lost in useless conversations, you are sealing the cracks through which the enemy tried to attack you. Your prayer is the shield that extinguishes the fiery darts of evil that try to convince you that you are beyond redemption. I saw the effort you made today to be here, listening to this message. This is the first sign that the walls are rising. Your vigilance now will be your greatest act of love for me. I will be by your side, holding your trembling hand as you put each door back in its place. You will no longer be an invaded land. You will be a closed garden where only I have the key to enter and rest. Before we move on to what I have in store for your immediate future, let me ask you a question that touches the core of your soul. Now that you have seen the breaches, what are you willing to leave outside your life today so that my peace may reign? If this word of authority has given you renewed energy, leave your amen in the comments and like this message as a seal that you have accepted the challenge of rebuilding. Right below our word of protection, declaring your new posture before heaven, Sentinel. But listen carefully, because now that the walls are rising, I will take you into my counseling room, where I will reveal to you that the answers you have sought so much were not lost. They were only waiting for this moment of return. Did you notice? The air in your room changed, The weight that once crushed your chest began to dissipate, like the mist that flees before the first ray of morning sun. I saw you earlier today, your bare feet touching the cold floor of the room, holding that mug of tea that was already lukewarm, while you looked out the window seeing nothing outside. But inside, something finally clicked. You stopped running away. The silence that once frightened you now began to embrace you. I was there, sitting in that empty chair in front of you, just waiting for the moment when your soul would quiet down enough to understand that the answers you sought so much in the noise of the world were kept, all along, here inside our secret place. Many times you thought I was silent because I was angry, or because I had given up on you. But the truth is that I was just waiting for you to return to the center of my will, to the place where my voice is the only one that matters. You sought advice in hours-long phone conversations. You sought relief in distractions that only left your soul hungrier, but it was the moment you knelt down and said nothing that heaven began to move in your favor. What I am preparing for your immediate future is not the fruit of your desperate effort, but of your silent surrender. This new time of answers that is now opening is the soil where the seeds you planted with tears many months ago will finally begin to break through the earth. For it is written in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 6, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Understand, my daughter, the promise of reward is not for those who make a spectacle, but for those who have the courage to close the door. I saw when you closed your bedroom door today, feeling small and tired, thinking it was just another ordinary day. But for the kingdom of heaven, that click of the lock was the sign that my daughter had returned home. The public reward that is to come will be the living testimony that it was worthwhile to trust in me when no one else was watching. I saw the light returning to your eyes as you listened to these words. It is hope being oxygenated by my spirit. The doors that were locked for years will not be opened by human force, but by the key of intimacy that you have just recovered. You no longer need to shout to be heard. Your Father already knows what you need even before you ask. Now, feel the peace of one who knows that the battle is no longer yours, but mine. The secret place is not just a refuge from pain, it is the strategy room where I give you direction for the next steps in your life, your work and your family. Before we move on to the final banquet, I have prepared to seal this reunion. Let me ask you something deep in your heart. If your miracle were hidden behind just 5 more minutes of silence with me, would you be willing to wait? If your heart burned with this promise of an answer, leave your amen and share this message with that person you know is knocking on closed doors and needs to return to the secret place. Write here in the comments our word of victory, sealing your return to the altar, my secret place. But remain attentive. Take a deep breath and don't leave. Because what I am going to put on the table now, in this last movement of our conversation, has something your eyes have never seen and your ears have never imagined. Look around now, my daughter. I know that many times you felt as if you were sitting at a table where there was no place for you, or as if the leftovers of everyone's attention were all that remained to feed your soul. I saw you at family dinners surrounded by people, but feeling such a great emptiness that it seemed you were on another planet. I saw you serving everyone's plate, taking care of every detail with tired hands, while your own heart starved for a little recognition, for a thank you that never came, or for a hug that would heal your loneliness. But today I myself have prepared the table. I moved the chairs aside, cleaned the tablecloth, and placed the best that heaven has to offer right before your eyes. This banquet that I have prepared for you in intimacy has no perishable food. It is made of belonging. You are no longer a last-minute guest. You are my guest of honor. Remember that afternoon when you felt completely forgotten, as if no one noticed your effort to keep everything afloat? At that moment, I was writing your name in golden letters on the invitation for this moment. I want you to feel the warmth of my presence now, as if it were the morning sun entering through your living room window, warming every cold part of your being. You no longer need to beg for crumbs of affection in places that do not value you, because in me you find total satisfaction. For it is written in my sacred word, in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 5, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Understand what I am telling you today. Your enemies are not just people, but your weariness, your doubt, your loneliness, and that voice that says you have been forgotten by me. I am preparing this spiritual banquet right before everything that tried to destroy you. I am anointing your head now with the oil of joy, removing that weight of sadness that made you walk with your head down. Your cup, which was once dry and cracked, now begins to overflow with my love. Feel the peace invading the place where you are. Perhaps you are in your kitchen or lying in your bed, but know that this space is now holy ground. I am reaffirming your identity. You are my chosen daughter, washed and restored. The time of spiritual hunger is over. Every word I have spoken to you on this journey was a piece of the bread of heaven to strengthen your bones and give vigor to your spirit. You will never again need to feel that you are wandering aimlessly, because your place at my table is guaranteed forever. I see your inner beauty, the kind the world cannot see, and I honor you for every silent prayer and every tear you shed believing I wasn't watching. Now that you are satiated by my presence and your heart has found the rest it so desperately sought, I want to ask you a final question from soul to soul. What word would your soul cry out to me now, if it had only one chance to express what it feels in this moment of intimacy? If your cup overflowed today, and you tasted my restorative love, leave your sign of gratitude and share this feast with that friend you know is fainting from spiritual hunger. Write here in the comments our word of belonging, declaring that you have accepted my invitation. Your presence is enough, but take a deep breath, because what I'm about to tell you is the final seal of everything we have experienced today, the golden key that will lock the door of your intimacy against any attack of evil. My daughter, now that the silence of your room is no longer an emptiness that frightens you, but an embrace that welcomes you, I want you to feel the gentle weight of my hand upon your head. We walked together through this desert of ashes until we found the ember that still burned deep within your soul, and I saw, when the light returned, to shine in your eyes. Your altar is no longer abandoned. It has been rebuilt with the stones of your sincerity and the cement of your repentance. I heard every beat of your heart as you listened to me, and each one was a step back home. No matter how far you felt you were, my love was always the rope that kept you safe, preventing you from becoming completely lost in the darkness of the world. Remember that at the very beginning of our encounter, I promised you a clear answer and a spiritual key to sustain your days. Well, the hour of revelation has arrived for those who have remained with me until this sacred moment. The phrase I now whisper in your ear, and which must be engraved on the tablets of your heart so that you never again feel helpless in the battles of the secret place, is this: I can do all things through him who strengthens me. This is not just a comforting phrase, it is your new identity. When weariness tries to close your eyes again, or when routine tries to steal your 5 minutes with me, declare this aloud. I want you to write this phrase in the comments right now, as an act of public faith and a seal that your private prayer has been restored today. Write, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. By doing this, you are telling heaven and earth that your strength does not come from you, but from the source that never runs dry. Don't stop listening to me now that the windows of your soul have opened. I still have deep secrets that I want to tell you the next times we meet. If you feel the thirst returning, look for the messages I have saved for you in this channel's playlist. There, my voice will continue to be your constant guide. The feast is just beginning, and I will be waiting for you at each new dawn, in the same place, with the same love as always. I am your rest and your strength. Abide in my love, and your fire will never be extinguished. I will be with you in every breath until we are one.